So apparently Ukraine attacked the Russians with a robot unit, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? What does this mean? Is this a solution? Is this the end of the war, essentially? Does Ukraine have unlimited manpower now? All these questions will be answered in this video. So I first read about this in the Institute Study of War website, which is like my main source for anything related to the Ukrainian conflict. So I don't know what these UGVs were. So the first thing I did is actually just like Google what is an unmanned ground vehicle, because I want to have like an image. So I found this Wikipedia page, which has like a nice pretty image. I think it's all just done with remote controllers. These machines currently need people around to guide them. Apparently the first attack wasn't even done by Ukrainians, it was done by Russians in 29th of March last year. And they used similar machines, except they put like these grenade launchers on them. They didn't even have to be precise, just like send those robots in front and put like grenade launchers on it, so you don't have to be precise with aiming. But the Ukrainians are using machine guns as far as I can tell. It links to this attack here, actually originally linking to the article from the recent attack in December. This is an image of the machines they're using. Supposedly these are the ones they're using. This article blabs on how this is like a worrying development for Ukraine, ignoring the fact that the Russians also use these machines. So it's just the both sides getting better at killing each other, which is like normal in a war. And I think like the reason they're pushing this narrative of oh, Ukraine is running out of men is because it's just like some AI generated text, and it's just like has these settings that it should somehow connect everything to this narrative that Ukraine is running out of people. That's what they do, these news agencies, right? They just like push certain narratives. Anyway, so the goal of these machines is not to replace all the infantry. It's essentially to conduct the assaults. So you have like a front line, you put your infantry in the front line, and then you send out these machines to do the most dangerous part, which is like exiting the defensive positions and running forward. That's like really, really dangerous, and that's like how you get killed. So that like only that dangerous task you will use these machines. They clear positions on the enemy front line, clear them out, hopefully clear like a layer out of the front line, and then send in the infantry so they can like move relatively safely. So at first I thought like, okay, this would be a game changer. This would allow Ukraine to change the momentum. They could like start attacking instead of just defending all the time. However, looking at these devices, they look difficult to fabricate. Like it's a complex machine, okay? So you need to have like a complicated assembly line as well to put them together. So it's not like you can easily set up mass production for drones, because drones are relatively simple to put together. But these machines are like bigger and they have more parts, so it's going to be also more complicated to assemble these things, meaning that the production wouldn't. You couldn't get any meaningful numbers out in a short term. It's gonna take like medium term to ramp up production. For example, maybe they're currently able to produce like 10 per month. In 1 month later, they may be able to scale up this production to like 20 per month. And then 1 month later after that, it will be 40 per month. But it would take a while before you have like 10,000. And you need 10,000 to actually like make a dent into the war. It's like just on such a massive scale, this war. So like Ukraine is a giant country and Russia is a giant country, so you need 10,000 of these machines to make a meaningful offensive. So on the short term, it's not going to be like a game changer. It is interesting though. It's very, very interesting. And one of the reasons I think this is so interesting is that like I watched the task and purpose video about, the guy went essentially to the front line and he interviewed like drone operators, and one of the things they were complaining about was electronic warfare interfering with their operations. So these unmanned ground vehicles would also suffer from that, right? They're the same kind of idea, just like remote controlled guns essentially. Remote controlled guns is the way to look. The first thing to ask yourself is like, how does electronic warfare work? And I think that the best analogy you could have is, so say your radio waves are like a light, so you want to like use flashlight to send Morse code. That's almost exactly what you're doing with radio waves, except you cannot see them. And then what you would do with electronic warfare is just have an extremely bright light in the area, and so that you can no longer see your Morse code signals. And that's how you lose communication. It's almost exactly the same as they are doing. And then like you could ask yourself, okay, why doesn't infantry suffer from electronic warfare? And the reason the infantry doesn't suffer is because, they have brains, and then brains control the body. So even if electronic warfare goes on, they can still do their tasks that they were assigned previously. So there's no live communication necessary. However, drones have their brains outside of their bodies, so you need to like transmit the commands to execute a task, right? You need to transmit movements, signals like that. And because you have this like remote controlled drones, you can interfere like this communication path between them. In my opinion, the next logical development, if electronic warfare is going to ramp up, and it's going to ramp up because this is the hard counter to the drone warfare currently, you're going to put the brains of the remote guns, like the unmanned ground vehicles or the drones, you're gonna put them inside the bodies themselves. So they're gonna be like able to move around and execute their tasks, even though they're like autonomous. This is like something that's going to happen because both Ukraine and Russia are heavily using electronic warfare. So both sides are heavily incentivized to fix the problems they're having with the drones. And, show me the incentive and I'll show you the result. Like they're gonna solve this by putting the brains into the drone. And I want to like strengthen this argument that the current commercial drones can do this. It's not something that is new. Actually, for the military drones, like what they're using in Ukraine, are behind in terms of intelligence what's available on the market. But it's like a big thing to keep in mind, right? Like because Ukraine has access to the Western market, like it's not a giant leap for them to just like contact one of these companies that has these drones that, for example, form like a dragon in the sky with New Year, which I think they're all just using a simple program to control these drones. But you can use these kind of maneuvers to also adapt them into like military maneuvers, right? Like you can have to form in like a V shape, or you can have like carpet bombing kind of techniques going on. So you can have like clever carpet bombing techniques so that they like look on the ground as well for human signatures. We already have like automated human detection in video software. Like all of that stuff is available. So what's the leap that Ukraine will just contact a Western company to help them implement this stuff? I think there is a really big chance this is going to happen really, really soon, if it's not already happening. The unfortunate side of this development is that we probably won't get any news articles out of it, because it's not flashy like, the unmanned ground vehicles are. You don't see it. Like, you don't see things becoming more intelligent. The only people who will notice that they all of a sudden have this intelligence is the Russians putting on the electronic warfare system and it just not working. And the drones keep coming at them, and maybe they even start shooting at the electronic warfare system if you make them clever enough. So what you were seeing in like the Dragon video is flocking behavior, which is actually a technique developed in the 1980s, and we're just applying this to new hardware. The flocking behavior was actually used in the movies such as like Lord of the Rings. So you have these like large battle scenes, and what they're doing is just have like animated puppets, for example the orcs in Lord of the Rings, and then you would have like generate one animation, but you cannot like tell them all to move. It's just too much work for the animators to do all by themselves. So what you would have, you would pre-program like the animations, and then you would just like send one out and the rest would follow this guy. And because they're all following each other, you get like this like massive movement all at once, which looks extremely chaotic. I mean, okay, the best thing that we can expect for this kind of AI development is to see is like a news report like being done by the Ukrainian military itself, but they will probably do that after they've already like deployed it en masse, and they've all these like the Russians already know about it essentially, because you don't want to like spoil that you have this new technology, right? Like you want to surprise the Russians essentially. If you like the video, please like the video. Thanks for watching, everyone. And if you have any comments or ideas, please let me know below, because this is like a topic that fascinates me on like 3 levels. We got our basic war stuff, which I like. We got the the economic situation. The Russians doesn't have access to the market for AI like software. It's like a whole other topic. And then finally we got the AI stuff, which that's basically what I do. So it's just like fascinating, so many levels. But thanks for watching. Bye.